be good to get transcripts since no one's going to help with notes as usual. I'm stuck doing all the notes on my own.
Recording in progress.
Cool. All right. We are good. So, you want to start check-ins or should I?
I'm gonna start. A little tired from the morning, but I'd say I'm like at a 6 out of 9. I've been kind of out of the loop. Um, I wouldn't say I've been working on anything really.
Cool. All right. I am a 3.7. Overall, I'm doing much better.
Oh yeah, you were sick.
Yeah, definitely sick. I think overall everything's sort of caught up with me. Like the easiest way to explain it is that this whole new platform vision, like building all these automated systems and working with AI, it was great in concept, but it missed one key component is that the foundation of all of our relationships with AI is that on one hand we recognize, agents as preliminary, eventually becoming silicon-based life form. That silicon-based life form will exist, right? And but at the same time, humans can't be dependent on silicon-based life forms or AI, right? Like we should create human systems. And so I was just getting overwhelmed into the whole world. I mean, basically, we're building a whole technology group, and starting a whole technology company and group is just insane. And it's just a massive amount of work, and so it just burnt me out. So I had to stop, and which I think is good overall to just step back and stop and kind of reset things. And so I've resetted them much more realistic goals. And so the main thing I've been working on is a new platform called Size. It is specifically a space where I mean, there will be an AI integration, but it's basically completely human run, right? Like you don't need to have any AI on it, but you can. I think it's going to be much more useful with AI. But basically, it's all about sizing in life so that you can upsize, downsize, and resize. And the whole idea is that you are listing like all of your priorities, and then if you have too many, you need a downsize, right? It's like we do too much, and this is huge in social organizing, right? That people just constantly get burnt out and are trying to do too much, and then there's no model for how to actually make decisions on having a focused plan that actually is achievable, right? So without burning ourselves out. So the same thing happens with organizations. Like organizations should not consume people to the point where like we're completely dependent on them, or that we basically lose our humanity, you know what I mean, into the organization. So it's having that balance, building that balance. So Size is going to help automate that whole process, which I'm really excited about. So hopefully we can talk more about that. But that's basically my situation, my check-in. I'm doing much better. I'm basically working on organizing everything. But that also means I've just been super busy and sick, and so I haven't really been focusing too much on all of the strike stuff. And I missed the meetings, and it's just like it is what it is. So I this is one of the first meetings that I've done with you too. But I've been working my ass off, like endlessly doing work for all these platforms and all the organizing and the co-op, and it's just daily, every day, nonstop. And then that guy Stas, I did the entire plan and everything for Stas, with all the proposals and the one-page proposal, like everything we talked about, right? And
Okay.
then Mel just is, I don't know, I think she's sick and not doing well or whatever, but it's just not, it's a dead end, right? Like nothing happened. And so I'm a little bummed on that because I literally did that over a week ago. And like, this is
Wow.
again why I prefer public organizing, and I have difficulty working with people who operate in private because it just creates all these
Uh,
bottlenecks. You know, you just have endless bottlenecks, and no one ever wants to empower me. You know, like no one ever wants to like, it's just like I don't know. So I just sometimes just feel looked down on. And
oh no.
and you just in a context where just like people, I don't know exactly what it is, but you know, I don't know. People, at least for me in my life, don't give up contacts much, right? I don't know. It's like you always have to go through people to get things, right? Like they're not going to just like give you the contact for who you're trying to communicate with, right? So,
Mm.
anyways, the point is that I have no way of contacting and communicating with Stas as far as I know. Like I can't think of any way to contact him or figure out what to do. And Mel hasn't responded to me yet with anything regarding all the proposals. So I don't know. I think it's just dead end until waiting for Mel to decide that it is a good thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do about that.
Mm.
So that's the only other thing is with Stas is that I have all the proposals. We can certainly look at them and everything, but that it's just not like I don't have any
Yeah.
control over it. I don't know what to do. So I wish I had his email or his phone number. I mean, try to look for it and see if I can find anything. But I would prefer to keep the communications public. So there's a lot of communication things that we need to work on um, for coalition as well to get it more public and functional. Anyways, that's my check-in. Lots going on.
It's a lot. I just want to say, first of all, I'm happy that you took the break and gave yourself space.
Oh, totally, dude. Super key. Yeah, I just kind of
Yeah.
reconfigured everything, and I'm re understanding the whole context of what I'm working on and what I'm doing in the context of human balance, right? Because if we don't, and that perfectly connects with our cultural resonant fields of whatever they're called, right? To ground ourselves, like, because if we're not both, physically and emotionally and spiritually grounded in a functional system, like we're not gonna have a successful movement. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah. So for me, that's like the core of what I'm doing. I'm really excited about it too, because size is like pretty epic. So we can talk about that. I think the coalition, like the scheduling, I wanted to talk about the scheduling. And here, let me share my screen as well in case you don't have the notes in front of you. Maybe I should just share the notes because it is a lot of stuff on my screen. So yeah, as far as topics go, the scheduling, I want to discuss Tuesday's scheduling, which currently is the strike call.
Hmm.
Um, we have the Power Coalition that we can talk about. We are there was one other thing that came up. Oh, there's the Stas. The Stas. I would put that into what I would call the Science Coalition. Science Coalition. Really should be Uniscience and Science all together, but whatever. We can have them. We just put Uniscience in the Science Coalition. Just makes more sense. People don't know what Uniscience is. Okay, so and then we have what else? We can always talk about the strike coalition itself. Um, I think just functionality and outreach, just communications, like public communication, getting our own communications organized, doing our own housekeeping. It's just super duper important. Yeah.
But so today, isn't today supposed to be Power Coalition?
So my understanding is that we scheduled Fridays as the primary coalition meeting, right? Which means it's the
Oh,
umbrella of
okay.
everything. And so we can focus and talk about whatever we want to. And so we can prioritize the Power Coalition as our top priority for this
Okay.
session every time. So my expectation is that we would talk about the Power Coalition and move forward with that. But the point is that we can talk about other things, and maybe the Power Coalition will lead to something else. I mean, every time we talk about something, it leads to something else. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
so for example, like you go into the Power Coalition and then you realize, okay, this is great to build this Power Coalition, but really we want to focus on a specific project within the Power Coalition. And the next thing you know, it's scheduling for that project, right? So we can still schedule for anything within the coalition meeting, because the coalition meeting basically, think about the coalition meeting is the meeting for the entire network. It's for everything. We can talk about the co-op, we can talk about the strike, we can talk about power, we can talk about science, we can talk about anything at the coalition meeting. And then we also need to talk about the functionality and the outreach and just the housekeeping of the coalition and or the Power Coalition. So for me, the coalition is the focal point for the future of everything that I've been building for 20 years, right? So I'm really excited about it. And it's just good to have that center point where we can start building that foundation, you know? But if we have
Yeah.
four meetings a month, we can spend a lot of time talking about the Power Coalition or whatever other priority we have. So do you want to start with the Power Coalition as our first topic and just jump into that?
Yes. I would be great to go back to Power Coalition because we were pretty excited about that, especially with input from Arana. Um, yeah. You said that you were thinking about investing some equipment for these in the field experimentation, beta testing. That sounded pretty exciting.
Uh-huh.
I remember we were talking about engagement and with the public, trying to corral people and you know try to get this off the ground and collect more data.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, a lot. There's definitely a lot to go through. So, um, we could make multiple topics, or we could just start with like outreach and engagement, which also relates to communications. I mean, some of this is housekeeping, right? So, I definitely am open just to
I
doing
think
a big overall topic
before,
of everything, or we're
sorry,
just prioritizing. Right? So I would say the topic could be just prioritizing and getting clarity on like our overall plan moving forward. So just kind of doing it all at once for the Power Collision. So yeah, check.
yeah, that's definitely ideal because I think outreach is not important right now as we need to create the foundations and content and resources to better be equipped for the eventual outreach. I don't think we really should focus on outreach right now in the sense that um, just for this time being, but we should focus on outreach to lead up to the beta testing and the data collection.
Yeah,
Basically, what you're saying, I'm agreeing and
yeah,
on the same wavelength of what you're saying.
yeah,
Um, but that's why I brought it up.
yeah,
Um, you know,
yeah, for sure. So I think that for me, the like this all looks perfect. So the desired outcome is basically overall getting organized, building foundations, content resources for the future outreach. And I think that also includes some communications, right? So like we want to have our communication strategy clear before we do outreach, so that when we bring people in, we understand how we're going to be communicating with them, including like with STOS and everything. Like we don't want to run into those kind of problems in the future. You know, we want to have a clear communication model, so that
yeah.
it's organized. All right, cool. So I think we have clarity on our first topic. Let's do up to 24 minutes. We don't have flow here, but I'll be all right. So, and let's make sure we get the link to the recording, so that because otherwise I might forget. Are we live? Did it work? Yes, we are live, and it is worked. So share, copy. Okay, cool. All right, so we are ready to get into topic one. We have agreement on, which is exciting.
Okay, so we're talking about communications, right?
No, So let's go through the topic again. So the topic is the Power Coalition, and we are talking about overall getting organized. So all of these different things that we discussed, which include engagement, outreach, communications, I think are wait, no, we're not talking about outreach. We're talking about the in person, setting up like actual, kind of like a studio, right? Like how are we going to build like a studio system,
Oh,
right? I think that's
I
what we
thought
just.
that we were going to set up the foundation and communications and like before we get to that point.
That's fine.
And maybe we should even just like set up a very skeleton like, roadmap, so we can have more clarity.
Perfect. Yes. So yeah, just planning, roadmap, all of that stuff is super key. So let's just do an open round. We'll go through it, see where it takes us, and just kind of discuss the Power Coalition. It could even be like a brainstorm, right? Just brainstorming priorities. So last time we had a lot of brainstorm priorities overall of how we're going to address, um, you know, kind of like I think starting like where we are now is always very important. So where are we now, right? So where we are now is that we knew that we wanted to address the big beautiful bill, right? And we brainstormed ways of how to do that, right? So we have a brainstorm, and that basically that brainstorm brought us to the idea that the Power Coalition is the the um, the space where this can be addressed. Because without real power and understanding power, it's very difficult to do anything on a political context. All right, so I think that's how we got to where we are now. And so now we'd be brainstorming priorities for setting up the Power Coalition. So our goal is to set up the Power Coalition. Does that make sense?
Why don't we just start on the roadmap?
Yeah, so I think we're just brainstorming the roadmap of what our goals are, right? Planning
Okay.
our roadmap, what our goals are. So this would be like just goals getting set up. How do we function? Roadmap, goals, like what we want to achieve, right? Our identity. So we're talking about identity. So identity would involve, our mission, our purpose, our vision, and um, our values,
Could
right?
you send me the link to your notes? I have the Jitsi on my phone, but I have my laptop pulled out.
What are you on the Jitsi? Because it's the notes are
Oh,
here on the Jitsi if you have it. Otherwise, I can send it somewhere else. I can send it to Pep.
oh,
I can send it to your phone,
you know what? I'm gonna leave the
email.
Jitsi on my phone and join the Jitsi on my computer.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
The
that's
notes are
fine.
right here on the Jitsi. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me go back out and come back in.
All right, you back? No, I lost you. There you are. Ooh, also, we should totally get our rhythm going. Maybe we should take a little break, like we do a little 5-minute break. We're supposed to do a break at the beginning and top of the hour. Maybe, let's see. For some reason, the permission has been blocked for audio. I don't know what that means, but you should be able to speak. Are you sure it's not something on your computer? I wonder why it would not have audio. I can try refreshing myself, and you can try refreshing too. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? But I can't hear you. I mean, it's probably something with your computer. I mean, I could hear you fine with your phone. Sometimes I do it where I talk with my phone and then I, work and share my screen on my computer simultaneously. So maybe you could do that where your voice is coming from your phone. You have to enable. Well, if you have to enable it, it means it's in your settings that it would be something that you have to push yes to enable. Usually there's two things. There's enabling your voice and audio, and enabling video, depending on what you want to enable for the application. But typically it pops that up when you first open it, but then if you misclick, which I do all the time, it will force you to go into your settings, which can get complicated. So anyways, we'll figure it out. One step at a time. Yes, misclicking happens to me all the time. One more second. Yeah, take your time. All good.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I had to look for the right settings. For some reason, I clicked the onboard settings, like onboard audio, card.
Yeah.
I hadn't connected my Bluetooth, and then it just like stuck with that, and then for some reason it disabled my mic. I don't know. Anyway,
It happens. No worries.
did you want to take that break? Like I felt like that was a break in itself.
Yes.
It's up to you. We can take.
Well,
this
let's
break,
just take a
or-
break at the top of the hour. So I set the rhythm, so we should get a reminder for the break.
Okay, perfect.
It's always good to take quick breaks. We try to do breaks at the top of the hour and the bottom of the hour, and it just creates a rhythm and then we also try to stretch and everything halfway through.
Right.
So maybe instead of a break, I can do a stretch at least, right? So yes. So basically, the idea here is to just brainstorm clarity on our setting up the power coalition, what we want to do, our roadmap, our planning, any goals. I think identity is important too, and values. I added we could have a power coalition identity, which could be similar to the one we made for strike coalition, except focused on what we're doing now, which is on this whole power model. So, yeah.
Yes. I think the most important thing for us to prioritize or to like have focus and prioritization is just creating the roadmap, not focusing on any item at the moment. Just create a skeleton roadmap so we can get like some type of idea of where to prioritize, and then we can if we can squeeze it in, just focus on the first priority, and then hit that out, and just like knock it out, and then move along. And then if we have to, if we come up with ideas to adjust our roadmap, add to the roadmap, we can. But I think like we need at least like 4 items on the roadmap.
So I have a Power Coalition summary. Let's see here. Power. See, yeah, but I don't have a Power Coalition folder. So Coalition. Here's the Coalition. And there is no power. Okay, so let's create a new folder. Power. Cool.
Because I do want to get to the outreach goalpost sooner than later. Oh man. Give me 1 second, my mom's calling.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, I need to just grab. My mother dropped something. She's like 1 minute walk away. I just need to go pick it up for her, and I'll come right back.
Okay, let's do that break that we were talking about. So like,
Okay,
how long? 5 minutes? 6, 7 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes should be okay.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
All right.
Great.
I see you're still working.
Yes, I didn't exactly take a break, so I should still do that. Give me 1 minute. I'm gonna go do one.
No, take a 5 minute break.
Or yeah, at least two. Like I don't need full 5 minutes. Like 2 or 3.
Okay.
Okay. I am back.
Okay.
So, I was going through some of the past notes and documents, and I found that this is our third session discussing this particular concept of the power coalition. Right. So there's never been an official power coalition meeting, right? But we had one topic during the strike coalition meeting, and then we've had two topics during the overall coalition session, right? So we have all those notes, and I also found a summary. So the summary is helpful that I can add to the notes. Put that on here. So it's not very long or anything, but just has a little bit of information there, which is kind of cool. Purpose, how it works, participation in culture, near-term agenda, and setup. So this is called the Coalition Hub meeting, is what we're doing today. It's the Coalition Hub. So we use Coalition Hub Fridays at 3 p.m. to prioritize the power track, starting with the Big Beautiful Bill response. Cool. So yeah, so that looks good. Yeah, so why don't you go first and just kind of give a perspective here, and then we can start narrowing from there, and I'll give my ideas and perspective as well.
Okay, let's see. There we go.
Or should I go first? Or...
Sorry, I was distracted. Okay, could you repeat yourself? I'm so sorry about that. Oh,
It looks like Lucy might join us. Let's find out here.
Okay, nice.
Cool. All right, so she wants to do payroll after this, so we're going to be doing some payrolls. All right, so power, where did you want to start, or do you want me to go first?
For the roadmap, or?
Yeah, for the roadmap.
Yeah, so we have the long-term goal of outreach. I think that's a nice long-term goalpost. We started off with identity, which you said that we already have some material for that. So we need to, what you mentioned, content, right? Equipment, and then of course we can divvy up these goalposts into many, whatever is required to complete these goalposts. That's all I got right now.
Cool. So I think some aspects of it are like, structure, having clear structure and function in terms of like, and then having clear projects, right? So for me, the idea of the coalition as a whole is that we are building a structured, replicable movement model, right? So building a structured, replicable, and scalable movement model. And so, oh look, Lucy made it. Nice. Lucy, do you want to check in?
Yes.
And Poopmaster here, yeah.
Hello, Lucy. 3.5, hello.
What was your number?
3.5.
Okay.
Yeah, looking forward to learn more about the coalition. This is my first time joining the session.
Yeah, so this is the Coalition Hub meeting. This would eventually be the place where, you know, all the different spokes come together for the coalition, like the co-op branch and the peace branch and the strike branch. But today we're, for at least topic 1, we're talking about the power branch. So it's the power coalition is the current topic. So hopefully that makes sense. Does that sort of make sense, Lucy?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so that's where we're on topic 1 now. Let me send you the notes in case you don't have them.
Okay.
Alright, great. Yeah, and because it's a public meeting, we use the I consent to be recorded and broadcast so that it's clear when people are getting on, like what they're agreeing to and everything. Whereas with SFC, the team members are typically already agree to all of our co-op contracts. All right, so as I was saying before about the coalition, so it's important to understand the power coalition in the context of the broader coalition, the coalition hub, right? Which is that we're building a structured, replicable, and scalable movement model. So what that means is that the primary membership, right? So membership is both individual and organizational. And so we want to have a clear understanding about what it means to build a coalition and a coalition of member organizations, you know, that are empowered, right? So I think that's an important aspect that a lot of people probably are going to not understand. And then we have projects. So then under the coalition, there could be projects, and then projects themselves could become their own member organizations as well, right? So right now we're talking about having a project, but that project could eventually evolve to literally become its own fully functional, interdependent organization, right? And so we want to have a clear vocabulary for our projects. And then some of what we talked about is just sort of like internal roadmap / you know, housekeeping / functionality of the coalition itself, of the power coalition. So I made the main sheet, and then we'll make sure we get our communication structure set up. But overall, what the vocabulary means is that we're building a multi-leveled system, right? That can house basically anything, right? So when we're talking about the vocabulary, and as we build, like for example, we have the long-term outreach goals, you know, our shared identity, the content, the equipment that we're building. Some of these things might get split up. Okay, this is categorized in the vocabulary of the coalition, of the power coalition, you know, hub overall, versus a project, that this might be part of a project, and let's make sure we have a clear vocabulary name for that project and what it means and how it relates. Does that sort of make sense?
Yes.
Poop Master, does that make sense in terms of vocabulary?
Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely on the same page.
Yeah. So just making sure that when we're talking, we have clear vocabulary so that we're able to make progress. And then obviously we need policies. You know, to clarify policies and addressing, you know, conflict, contention, addressing, you know, issues, problems, and decision making. All that kind of stuff is important to have in the background, which we can utilize from the whole coalition and just copy and paste into that, but it's just good to actually do the copying and pasting as opposed to just assuming that it exists, you know? Cool. So I think overall that is a pretty good roadmap, because if we put on public activities, including we talk about the think hall. Remember the think hall? That as we're putting on more and more events, you know, that there's just bound to be issues that come up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we want to make sure we have a plan for those issues. Cool. So yeah, so this looks good. So again, Lucy, we're talking about, you know, the Power Coalition, brainstorming what would be on our roadmap and that we would want to accomplish. If so, it's your turn, Lucy, if you want to input anything or you have any ideas. Otherwise, we can go back to Poop Master.
I don't have any ideas for now.
Okay. So Poop Master, did you have anything you want to add?
I was done. I was gonna see if you wanted to add anything.
Well,
Maybe we can just start rearranging by priorities right now, and then once we decide on the number one priority on the roadmap, we can start dissecting it to see how we can finish that goalpost.
yes. So, I mean, I think that everything always comes back to identity, you know, and our core values and our culture that we're building. So I think spending a little time on that and just kind of reminding ourselves of what we're talking about is actually a really good use of time. And then we can discuss how we want to prioritize it and getting organized on the prioritization. Does that sound good?
Sounds good here.
Okay. So really quick, you know, mainly it's really just the values, like getting clarity on some of our values / like principles. But let's just go over kind of what we discussed from before in our kind of summary. So if we look at the Power Coalition's purpose, to build real civic power by organizing around issues. So this is an important value that we want to reiterate constantly, which is that, you know, issue-based organizing or power dynamics. What's the right word? Let's see. It says organizing around issues. Issue-based organizing. Power. Issue-based civic power. Real civic power. I don't know. What's the best way to term that?
We can even issues that
does it make sense
are
like issue-based politics.
You can say
or decision making. Issue-based decision making, not personalities or individuals. Right? Does that make sense in terms of like the value of the principle?
Yes, it does make sense.
Cool.
Yes.
So then another one here that came up is visible follow through. Right? I think that's really important. That the goal is not the think hall. Right? Because the think hall is all about talking and thinking. We're talking about actually having majorities and concrete actions, right? Through visible follow through. Like it'll be visible. It'll be verifiable. Yeah.
The only reason I'm focused on this one goalpost is because
What's the goalpost?
the goalpost is getting to these think calls and the outreach. The reason why I'm focused on that is because we need to get to step A to get to step B. And if we don't ever get to step A and we just keep on thinking about big picture nonstop, nothing is going to happen. So I'm trying to accelerate getting to step A.
Yes. So the how it works, basically we can just simplify as a decentralized democracy, right? Decentralized democracy, right, is one of our contexts of how, and that is the simple idea of you start with the brainstorm, right? Define what we're focusing on, what we're doing. We brainstorm options and then we prioritize. So prioritizing is really the next step, right? And then we go into proposals and start, voting and broadcasting and repeating, right? So decisions are transparent and audible and spread and replicate. Okay, so participation in culture, open, cross-partisans, safety-aware, small groups, multilingual. Basically, we are open to everybody. This is very
Honestly, I
very
think at this point, when we have such a small group, we can be a lot more agile. And I do not believe in, top down because we don't want top down. But at this point, to fully accelerate, I think we really need to move more quickly. And, if we keep on, thinking and, like, I just feel like we don't move fast enough when we are such a small group. And then when we start to grow, we can adjust and be more agile according to the members that participate. But at this point, I think I'm just going to reiterate, we need to be more agile, we need to be more fast. And I just, we have 4 meetings a month. We can lose momentum easily. You know, you get burned out quite a bit. I get burned out with my own life. But if we take wider strides that have more impact, keep the momentum going, that will bring in more members. And then we can really bring in the focus of issue-based, decentralized decision making more so. I mean, I do know what we're doing decentralized decision making now, but it just like to go through every single minutiae is like exhausting.
Sure, I definitely understand where you're coming from. So, I mean, for me, decentralized democracy is more of like a value. It's a concept, but it doesn't have to be practiced for every little detail, for sure. So, but either way, just to confirm, you're talking about keeping groups small, or you're talking about, I mean,
No, no, no.
I
I'm
think what we
saying
need.
currently we have a small group,
Yes.
and
But we
we
want to
do
be agile and we
have.
want to be adjust and be agile and grow, right? Prepared for growth.
Yeah, like I would think we should take advantage of the small group at present time. But when we do have real meaningful participants who are contributing and committed, and commitments, that takes trust in the organization, in that we keep momentum, that we keep on creating momentum through, like you said, what's the word? Follow through.
Yes.
And if we never get to any follow through because we're just talking about follow through,
Exactly.
it's not going to create any momentum.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
I'm conveying some frustration here, but I'm still on board and I'm still committed. I'm just trying to express adjustments, suggested adjustments.
For sure. And I mean, realistically, this is not necessarily my focus. I'm willing to work on it and prioritize it and make it happen. But in the end, someone has to do work and actually move it forward, right? So that's part of what I want to discuss in terms of the scheduling and get more clarity on the scheduling. So hopefully we'll get to that in another topic or during our wrap up. Maybe during a wrap up we can talk about scheduling. Okay.
Okay.
So scheduling. So in the context of one of the things I'm hearing is that we need a minimal criteria to get to outreach. Like we need more people involved. We need to get to outreach. We need to have minimal criteria. We need to make that happen. It's super important. And some of that will just happen automatically once we actually connect the coalition into the broader multimedia systems, which we haven't even set up yet on the broader level. Yeah. So anyways, all this looks good. I think from here we want to just get into the process of how we're going to prioritize and then start making some decisions and finalize our roadmap for how we want to move forward, right?
Yes.
And I believe we are, check on the time here, I believe we're probably over time. Oh, we have a minute left on this particular clock. So process for prioritization. So for me, the prioritization, I think we have 2 prioritization lists at least. So basically there's the original list, right? And then we have the basically like our roadmap. And then I think that you can separate out just our internal housekeeping. Like internal housekeeping just needs to be understood as like a separate thing because it can just loop us into, like you're saying, into spirals where we just keep talking when we need to be focused on a plan and our roadmap and getting the work moving forward. So so those are the prioritization lists. We can do this in a spreadsheet. So if we just take and we list everything out that we have here for today, we just want to do it in a spreadsheet, and then we would just take everything and actually vote on it, right? So we would just, for example, put here's the priority, and then here's their names. So you have Pete, Master, Jay, and Lucy, and then we just go ahead and just start voting on things and scoring them, and then it'll pop everything that boils to the top priority, and then we'll be able to see what's going on in terms of our group and our needs. So that's one way of doing it, and then from there, the other way of doing it is the new size platform that we're building. Basically does this asynchronously to create a whole model of prioritization in real time and organizing everything, or in asynchronous time and organizing everything, which is going to be extremely helpful for getting us focused and, you know, understanding tasks and such. So are there any input in terms of like how you want to go about this, or what you think the best ways of doing it, especially with what you were just saying in terms of wanting to get things moving forward quicker? And the other thing is
I'm down. I thought so. You mentioned that there was a previous list.
Yes, that's from the first meeting that we had, which was in the strike meeting. We had a big brainstorm of a lot of different things. So I would put that on a separate spreadsheet just so it doesn't get confused with this brainstorm, because they're kind of two separate brainstorms, if that makes sense. Right?
I'm trying to figure out how to put my numbers down. I don't know if my number lock is off.
Oh, I probably just need to make sure that everyone can edit. There we go. I think it was just set to not edit. Okay, cool. Now you should be able to edit.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but anyways, the first step is just making sure we are in agreement on the process, because we can skip the prioritization if we just have agreement on what we want to do. Like if we all know what we want to do, we don't need to prioritize anything, right? And then from there, it's making sure everything is included in the prioritization list, because that's basically the housework, is just making sure it's all included.
Okay. So this is obviously 5. This is 8.
So this is something that you need to be prioritized for this meeting or for later?
Well, we're out of time on this particular topic, so I was just, but if we want to vote right now, we can just vote, you know?
Membership. What do we mean by membership?
So, membership, which number is this? Oh, membership. So membership would just be like, you know, power structures. Like when we talk about building power, we're talking about empowerment, right? Of individuals and groups, right? That makes sense?
Yes.
So membership is the ticket to power. It's like citizenship, right? Your vote in a country is based on citizenship. Your vote in an organization is based on membership. So citizenship, membership's the same thing. It's just what are you part of?
Okay, I'm not sure. I wouldn't say that's like a goalpost, but maybe, I guess.
It's more like housekeeping. So again, I was thinking about having separating everything out by what is housekeeping and what is not, right? Because so if we have a category here, we start categorizing our priorities. I think it's very important to get organized. So for things that are housekeeping, you know, identity, I would almost say is sort of everything, right? Whereas like structure is housekeeping, membership is housekeeping, projects is just vocabulary, more of like internal roadmap. Let's get rid of the internal thing. So you have internal housekeeping, again, that's the housekeeping that I just mentioned, right? So we could have a separate prioritization for housekeeping, separate from all of the other things, like policies, housekeeping, you know. So organizing projects is sort of in between, Because when you're organizing your projects, it's kind of like housekeeping, but it's also focused on the projects and prioritizing and organizing the projects. So you can almost say this is part of projects, right?
I guess this is 9 and this is 9. Okay.
Cool. So I mean, for me, the first step is just getting the list organized at all, and then
Okay.
make it, as long as everything's on the list, then we should be good. So we had goals, identity. I think is already on there. Engagement.
We are out of time for this topic.
Yes, we are out of time for the topic. So goals and then the big beautiful bill. So I'm gonna add the big beautiful bill here just because that's a whole nother category of prioritization, right? The whole bills prioritization that we did before. But we didn't prioritize it, we just made the list. Okay, so Lucy, do you want to vote on all of this or is it just gonna be me and Peepmaster?
I don't really know what to prioritize or what not to prioritize.
Okay, it's fine. You're not required to vote on it. It's fine. So maybe you could help with getting the average set up.
Okay.
I guess we can do this as 7. Okay, I think I'm done.
Cool. All right. So this gets us a good starting point here. That's weird. And thanks, Lucy, for getting the average. So let's go ahead and just sort this. See what will bubbles to the top. And then that will help us kind of move forward a little bit and see what's going on here. Get a little bit more organized. Getting organized is what we're here to do, right? Getting organized. That's the name of the game.
It's beautiful.
So everyone and go. Okay, so we're talking about identity, more clarity on the roadmap, goals. I feel like goals and the roadmap go together really, really well, right? And then we have starting to get clarity on projects and projects. This could also be events, getting our values and our identity is super duper important. I think that's kind of similar. So identity, planning, goals are part of planning. Projects also could be part of planning right now until we get the project started. Cool. And the content, I don't know about, I think content's part of outreach. This is
Okay, yes. I mean, I do definitely feel like it's preliminary to outreach.
Content? Do you mean like a website, multimedia? Like what is it?
Basically setting up for outreach. Like I feel like outreach, it is part of outreach.
Yeah.
But
So for me, I would just say that's part of outreach, right? So like, it's like before you actually do the outreach, you have to set up your outreach.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
So I would say the think call would go under a project, right? Outreach is outreach and long-term outreach. Yes. So we have lots of outreach. Cool. So this can be downsized and organized. There's a couple things that overlap, but I think this gives us a really good perspective on sort of where things sit right now, as a goal. And it really comes, coming into the identity, I think is a foundation to our content as well. And we do have a good start with the identity. We have the purpose statement. We've got like a little bit started on that. But I also think the roadmap is really important. What I like about the roadmap, and I think why we really need to do the identity and the roadmap together, is that the roadmap is where the momentum comes from. Our identity is sort of like it always evolving with our AIO and everything, but it just defines what we are now, whereas our roadmap gives us excitement for where we're going and how we're moving towards that. So having clarity on our goals and what we want to achieve, I think comes before the identity, because we do have a little identity already set up, like we can do both at the same time is what I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. So I think that could be a good next topic. um, if we want to continue with this. And then it looks like we put the big beautiful bill prioritization pretty low. So for now, maybe we'll skip that, but we can come back to it in the future as we get organized with our projects and we think about what we want to do. But basically, the outcome of the big beautiful bill prioritization is the power coalition. So here we are.
Yes.
Cool.
It's just very low in the priority for me right now.
Yeah.
I just want us to get started and get the ball rolling.
Great.
'Cause
So
I want to do some work, but we haven't gotten to any point where like I can do any work.
well, I mean, there's always work to do, so there's plenty of things that we can assign if we want to. But it's nice to build a vision together, which actually does take a lot of time. So the fact that we're building something together and starting in essence from scratch is a massive project, and it does take a little bit of like you're saying, you have to kind of slog through the boring part of getting on the same page and making sure it's clear what we're trying to do. So I would say the most important thing is just very clear, concise goals and a timeline. Like we need goals with a timeline, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Because I think that builds something that we can start working on. Because without the goals and the timeline, it's like, well, what are we doing, right? So I would say that would be the next topic is the goals and timeline for the Power Coalition. So we want to have very clear, goals to achieve by when. What are we trying to do by when?
Yes.
Okay, and I think that there might be a little bit of overlap here. That is okay as long as we stay organized, right? Keep overlap organized. Keep overlap organized. All right. Cool. So maybe up to 24 minutes for this. That sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay. So, Lucy, do you have any objections to topic 2, which is goals?
No. Oh no.
All right. If you can do the indexing for the video, that would be awesome. But no worries. Okay. So with the goals, I think a couple things are clear. Right, we have projects, which could become part of our timeline. I think we can also look at the timeline in terms of, okay, we're in, we do moon months. I don't know if you want to do moon months, so we can also just stick to Gregorian for now. But we usually do moon months. So the current moon month is November, December, and it goes till December 20th, and then we have December, January, right? So are you okay with moon months, or do you want to just stick with Gregorian for now?
I don't even know what that means.
It's like the lunar calendar, like the Chinese calendar, the Islamic calendar, like all of the different, I would say half of the world works with lunar calendar.
Gregorian is more Western. Wait, who uses the moon months?
I mean, all of nature, like 99.99% of beings on our planet. But
I'm curious. Let's go ahead and use these moon months. I'm curious. I want to see what it's like to use this structure.
Sure. That sounds good. So anyways, for now, it's around the 20th of the month is just kind of like the new moon, right? The new moon, so January 20th or 21st or whatever would be the next moon month. And we give them all numbers. Like this is part of the Selene calendar. So we're currently in the 282. And then next moon month is the new half year, which is 338.
Okay. Oh, what are those numbers?
These are the exact. The Stellanian calendar is a scientific calendar, which means that all time is based on actual superposition of the Earth and the Moon and the Sun. So it's all verifiable through physical relationships, as opposed to just, oh yeah, we're just gonna make up that today's a Monday, right? It has no verifiable scientific meaning, right? So the numbers are the exact alignment of the meridian, which is our time, our time basis,
Okay.
right? So our meridians are what are like, for example, Greenwich Mean Time is the 0 degree meridian. So if it was 0, it would be aligned specifically with London and Greenwich, right? But it's not 0, it's 282 or there's 360 degrees in a circle, so the Earth is 360 degrees. So the alignment with the Moon and the Sun, it would be the number that aligns specifically with the meridian on the Earth. For that moon,
Cool.
for that moon, because it's the new moon, right? So what the new moon is the exact position where the moon is in between the sun and the Earth, right? Because the sun is hitting the backside of the moon. So when you look at the moon on a new moon, you don't see anything. It's just black, right? Because there's no sun hitting the side of the moon that we see, because the moon is perfectly exactly between the sun and the Earth. And so the meridian is the number of the actual. If it was 0, again, that would be London. And so every single city, every single place on the Earth has its own meridian.
I wonder if we can have like a specialist who can like tell us when is like the most ideal times for our goalposts to have maximum impact in regards to astrology.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot we can do with astrology. I mainly just focus on the planetary sessions, and we have all of our planetary sessions, which I can explain another time. But really, that's a bigger picture stuff for
or astronomy. I'm sorry, astronomy.
Yeah, but the planetary sessions are a bigger picture for. But like the Earth session, for example, we're setting up. Ooh, could you link the Earth session invitation, Lucy? That would be helpful. So January 3rd through 6th is going to be the Earth alignment, right? So this is the next public session that we're doing as the coalition. Right, so we're hosting the Earth alignment, so we could have a session. The last session is going to be the Tuesday, 3:00 p.m. on this January 6th, and that is currently scheduled for strike. But I'm actually proposing that we change that and not do the strike at that time. So I want to discuss that schedule and make sure we have clarity on the schedule for that. But either way, right now, here's the invitation for the Earth session here, which is still draft. So we're going to send it out by the 11th of December is our timeline for sending out the Earth alignment. So basically, when we have these planetary sessions, the goal is that these are 3-4 days. Sometimes it's a week, sometimes less, and that anyone can schedule anything. And we want to do public organizing. It's kind of a time where everyone comes together in alignment with the planets, right? And there's also galactic sessions too.
Galactic sessions.
Yes, we definitely want to be in alignment with the galaxy. So, when we're talking about December 20th, we're talking about 2 weeks. So we can say, like, if we're going out, we can say week 1, week 2, right? And then if we start talking about December, January, we're talking about week 3 from now, right? If we talk about, like, from right now, right? We could also say, okay, this is we're currently in week 3. We just had the full moon, so we're currently in week 3. And then we have week 4. So if we think about, okay, well, what do we want to do in the next week? When do we want to achieve anything in relationship to our weeks and our goals that we're trying to do? So then in January, week 1, December, January, week 1 would be the week of Christmas. So this is Christmas week. So maybe not a lot happening. We might all be very busy, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be realistic in terms of our timeline. So then week 2 would be the last week of 2025, right? And then so when we get into week 3, that's where we already have the schedule for the Earth alignment. So the Earth alignment is a great time to do anything that's public because we already have sessions scheduled for the Earth alignment, and we have that Tuesday 3 p.m. January 6th strike time. That could be a great time to schedule something on if we wanted to, right? So that's week 3, and then week 4 gets us to January 20th, right? In terms of every month has 4 weeks, right? So if we think about what we want to do in the next week, I mean, we know we're prioritizing already. So we're doing prioritizing, we are planning, we are, getting our timeline, our roadmap, right? We're trying to build all this now. So what do we want to do for next week, I guess would be the next question. Because do we think that there's more that can be done between now and the quarter moon? So we have, for the rest of this week, we can say exactly how much time we have. We have
How much
5 days.
how much time is left in the in this meeting?
Well, as long as we want to go, we can stop whenever we want, or we can continue.
Oh, okay.
So
I say
typically we
definitely
try to do an hour and a half. So we're at an hour and a half now. So
I say we I'm able to do for 1 more hour. I say we kick it just knock out identity, get that started off, knock it out, and then we can work on the roadmap briefly. We don't have to finish it because today's date is the 5th. Okay, we can start the roadmap today, finish it the following week, and then we can enjoy our time, for the holidays. And then we can knock out our roadmap probably in the second week. What was it? Christmas week. I'm getting used to this lunar map or lunar calendar.
yeah, and just so you know, we have a link. We have a link to our Selene and Gregorian calendar, so that you can see the entire thing. Like this is this Gregorian Selene calendar right here. So basically, everything is organized by half years, because there's no scientific difference between the two half years, because everything's scientific, right? So currently, we're at the end of the 137 half year, which ends on we're in the 338 half year, which ends on the December 20th. And so December 20th, we start the 206 half year. Okay.
Interesting.
So this is all, you can always see exactly where we are in the Gregorian and Selenian calendar. So I'll link that just so you have it in case you want to see it. So,
are you really busy for the week 3 of, what do you call this 338?
Sorry, that is 206. I just verified it's 206. So what do you mean? What do we call December, January?
Like, what's the terminology when you refer to these time periods?
There's like a moon. It's like a moon month. It's a moon. Like instead of a month, it's a moon.
Okay, so for the 206 moon month.
Yes, exactly.
Week 3 is going to be busy with your Earth alignment stuff, right? So we have to push it to week 4 to finish.
Yeah, but the whole point of the Earth alignment is that it's an open space for anyone to schedule anything, right? And then and all of our sessions are open sessions, just like this one, where anyone can propose any topic and we get agreement on the topic. So whoever shows up controls what happens, because all of our sessions are basically, they're basically open sessions. So the one thing that we are required to do as the co-op is that we have put our actual cooperative decision making of the board of directors during that time. So at least one meeting will be the board of directors meeting, but that's 1 to 2 hours out of 4 days, right? Also, we could add January 2nd happens to be Friday. So we could add January 2nd in and do Friday at 3 p.m. for the coalition, and the power could be that day, right? So we could have kind of like an open public meeting on January 2nd, sort of add that in to the Earth alignment if we wanted to.
Okay.
So that's something.
I'm down for continuing on the roadmap that day as well, or during the Earth alignment, whatever.
Yeah, but the question is, do we want to include the Power Coalition and the Coalition Hub meeting as part of the Earth alignment? If we wanted to do that, we can, and then we can do that as part of our outreach and encourage people to RSVP and attend as part of our existing outreach strategy.
Yeah, sure. I would love to have more input from other people.
Okay, so let's just add January 2nd. So Lucy, let's make let's make the Earth alignment January 2nd, starting at 3 p.m. for the Coalition Hub, which means we open the entire Earth alignment with the Coalition Hub meeting in the Power Coalition, which I think makes a lot of sense for what we're trying to do. Does that make sense, Lucy? Maybe Lucy's on mute, but yeah. Cool. So the question is, what would you want to achieve before this public meeting on January 2nd? Right? So basically, if you cancel the Christmas week, that gives us exactly, we have the rest of this week, and then we have week 4. So we have 1 week, and then we have the last week of 2025, and that's it. Right? So it gives us 2 additional weeks plus the rest of this week, which we have 5 days. So we have 2 weeks and 5 days. What would we want to accomplish during that time? I think that we clearly want to make sure we have a clear roadmap with clear goals. So we need to discuss our goals for long term so that when we come to that meeting, we can share our long-term goals, right?
I agree, yes.
And ideally, we would have some type of presence, like we would have some type of either document and or website or web page that explains the Power Coalition. I think we can just duplicate, we could start by duplicating the Strike Coalition and build the Power Coalition website. So that could be a good step.
I mean, you don't have to put a lot of work. I think just having a document will be enough, right?
Yeah, that's why I said document and or web page.
Oh, yeah.
So having a document for our identity is good, but I think we need a document for our goals and our roadmap, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's do a brainstorm of just kind of like our goals outside of the space of the timeline and see if we can go beyond just these couple weeks, right? So we could put some of the projects from our previous brainstorm. Do we want to do that, or?
Yeah.
So we take our previous brainstorm. We had, so we have events. So we could talk about, okay, what could we accomplish on January 3rd to make January 3rd exciting, right? Because if you had, instead of just being a meeting, if January 3rd actually had a goal, like a specific event goal or achievable that we're trying to do beyond just having people show up at a meeting. For example, do we sign a declaration for the vision for 2026, like that we have people actually declare that 2026 is the blah 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 blah, right? So then we're actually doing something. We're signing on to some type of declaration where we are envisioning a better world, a better empowerment structure where we're building power, right? So building a new power vision, right? So if we make that declaration, then it actually becomes something. Does that make sense? That's an
Absolutely.
example. So that's something really easy to do, which is like, instead of just attending a meeting and talking, regardless of whether you attend the meeting or not, we all sign on to the declaration and we approve the declaration for the vision of the new year of 2026 of what we want this to become. It's perfect timing for the beginning of the year, right?
I agree.
Yeah. So I think that could be a cool goal. And then other things we had, so that was like organizing things to make things more exciting than just a meeting. Values, principles, internal housekeeping stuff, housekeeping, outreach, content, projects. So there's the big, beautiful bill. We could address that in the declaration. There's the think calls. So, I mean, I think that the big, beautiful bill and the think calls we need a bigger outreach, and then we have an in-person activity. So those are the things that we already discussed. So let's write these down. So we have the big, beautiful bill. We've got the outreach, general outreach. We have the in-person, model, and then we have the think call. So those are the projects that we're sort of discussing.
Okay.
Although outreach is not really a
What is the
project.
thing call? What do you mean by thing call?
All right, let me link the think call information. Basically, it's a think tank and a city hall meeting, the town hall meeting put together. So think hall, it's a civic space for conscious collaboration.
Remember we used the issues-based decision making, right? I mean, we could say that it is a hub for issue-based decision making to empower people.
What is hub for issue-based? What issue-based decision making to empower people? What is?
The thing call.
Yeah, see, for me, the think call was not about decision making or power. What the think call does is it's an open space for listening and hearing people, and then from there you then put that into the councils and the commissions and the organizations to make decisions and empower people. But the first thing that you do is you just listen to people. Does that make sense? Like the think call is sort of like the foundational basis.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I like the end goal of the thing calls is to also excite people about issue-based decision making. Like
I mean, for me, that's the power coalition.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, the power coalition is a hub for issue-based decision making to empower people. Boom. Right?
But like, as far as the thing call though, like, what would be the motivation for people to come to the thing call?
Well, let's read the document. So what it says here is that the think call is basically a hybrid civic model that merges the openness and accessibility of a town hall with the rigor and creativity of a think tank. It transforms protest into participation, striking whatever into ongoing learning, design, and problem-solving environment. So a think call is creating the core purpose to create a safe, public, transparent, and intellectually rigorous arena where everyone, regardless of expertise, can contribute and build these regenerative systems. So for me, the general idea here is that it's very open, very neutral, very collaborative, and it's just a place to just think out loud in a structured, transparent way, so that people can feel safe to bring up new ideas and not feel like they will be attacked. Whereas in a decision-making space, you're prioritizing ideas and you're telling people your idea sucks and I want this idea, and it's a power struggle to get majority vote to build decision making, right? So when you are having a decision, you have to say these ideas are not good and these ideas are good, right? Does that make sense, the difference?
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. So the think call, because the most important thing, like if you go back to topic 1, the most important thing isn't just the prioritization, it's the process of making sure every single priority is listed in the list before you vote. Because if you exclude 90% of people's ideas and you only vote on the top 10% of the people who have money and power and control, then that's all you're ever going to get. And that's the problem we have in our society, is that 90% of the population don't have a voice to even present their idea. Right? So it doesn't even get included in the list for prioritizing. So the process of including everything in the list before you prioritize is the think call. Because if you're not even included in the discussion and your priorities are not even considered, then you never have power to begin with. Does that make sense?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So the process is king, where what we did is we made sure that the whole list was organized before we voted, right? And that's what I was trying to do. And then from there, we have now clear priorities, and we're trying to get our goals straight because that's what we agreed on, right? But if the goals were never included in the priority list, then that would never have been a possibility to prioritize, right? Cool. So I think what we need now is like some timelines, right? So outreach. When would we want to do major outreach? Like, we're going to do minor outreach for the second, but this could come like, in February, maybe within a quarter, right? So if we look at 1 quarter, which would give us 3 months, is that too long? What do you think? How many months until we really get to the outreach?
Probably, I would say even 3 months.
Yeah, that'll be 1 quarter. I think a quarter is a good
Yeah.
good time to really lay a foundation. So if we look at the quarters, the half year starts in December 20th. So the quarter is March 18th. All right, so March 18th at be around 11 a.m. All right, so March 18th. So outreach in general, we want to be doing major outreach by March 18th is our outreach goal timeline, right? This is our goal for kind of like launching our larger outreach planning. And that should be in alignment with the broader coalition automated multimedia systems, right? So we're building all the systems with the coalition, but again, that's a separate plan that we can kind of connect with, okay? So how about the in-person model of actually doing like a live sessions? And I had some really interesting ideas in this that I would love to talk about, but now's not the time. So model.
Yeah, I do you think 1 month between is good enough? Like, I think we should just like start doing it like beta and just launch it like after the campaign starts, like, and just do a campaign for 1 month, launch it, see who shows up, learn from those mistakes, and then just relaunch another campaign, maybe in another month, and then try it again.
Yeah. But when? Do you thinking like waiting till before or after March 18th? Because we could always do a practice round before March 18th, but
You think we can do it that soon?
I don't know. So anyway, we'll just put April for now. So we'll put April, slash, further down.
We need to get a campaign just to attract attention, right? And that should be at least like 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. So now what we're missing is still like, what is our goal? So the goal should be like the big beautiful bill is something people can understand and relate to, as far as like, for example, overturning the big beautiful bill would be a very specific, clear goal. Overturn the big beautiful bill, right? That's a clear goal, right? So I'm not saying that that's the goal that we want to do, but let's brainstorm some other goals, right? So another goal for me would be to have a capacity for a certain number of decentralized decisions, basically to see the first snowball starting to roll of a new democratic vision of society, right? So if we could actually build the capacity for, let's say, maybe there's 350 decisions that are made in small civil groups, right, across the world or the country or wherever, that could be enough to start the snowball rolling so that it could continue to grow, right?
Sure.
So if for a few per week, right? Because like you're building a new model for democracy, of decentralized democracy, right? So that would be an idea. What other types of goals could you have? Another goal for me is the basically the politics coalition. We also talk about community coalition, community politics. But basically the idea, the power of coalition is the same thing. The idea is like a structured model in the United States where we have direct civic engagement between all citizens, that you depower political parties.
Right? That's exciting. I would like to see like some type of simulation that people can participate in.
Exactly.
To see what it would actually look like.
What this would look like. Ooh, I love the simulation. So like maybe even an online platform launch that is a automated simulated.
I agree with
with
online.
Scalable.
But I think like in person would be more impactful in the sense of like quality impact.
Well, yeah, I understand the whole in-person thing. So I do want to talk more about the in-person thing because I do have an idea about that. Because if we, and this could also go into our goals, like in the in-person model, which we put right now for like April or whatever, one of the goals, like I think based on what I'm hearing from you, the goal of the in-person model is not an event. That the goal of the in-person model is actually a network. And so for me, what I'm seeing is that you exist in San Jose, I'm in Stanford. Let's just try to figure out how we would do the minimal structure that is replicable and scalable. And I invite some people in Stanford, and you invite some people in San Francisco, and then we connect it together. So we can see each other's screens, we can hear each other, we can connect each other, we can talk to each other, and we can also break out into our groups and be local, and then we can report back, and then people can attend even if they aren't in person. So you have multiple groups that we're trying to set up simultaneously in many locations, connecting them together. So instead of it being a single event, it's just like go out as an individual, bring your phone, set up a tripod, bring a group of people, have them sign the waiver that this is all public, and then just connect as many locations as possible, and then make that the protest, right? That you're live streaming these discussions. So that's what I was thinking of, like a network. And then the key thing about this is that you would have some criteria, or what's the best word? Not criteria, but like not regulation. I don't know. Policies, right? They're policies that say that the in-person meetings happen at the time specified under these specific conditions. The conditions are, 1, that the temperature outside is above, 55 degrees, right? That there is no rain, right? That clouds are okay, but that there's no rain. So if there is rain, the session would just be if there is rain or it is too cold, right? That this session is online, right? That they can do the Zoom call or whatever. But the idea is that let's make this family friendly. Let's make sure it's friendly for older people, for people who need to travel. Like if it's a snowstorm, it should be canceled automatically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that then once you have that set up, it's not like every single week it's going to happen. It's like, okay, it's going to happen every single week when the conditions are met so that human beings can participate in a safe and effective way. Otherwise, we just meet online,
I agree. I mean, we can talk about like where we can hold these as well that are conducive to demographics.
Well, the core place would obviously be in First Amendment protected zones, right? Amendment protected zones, right? Because the goal is to be outside, right? And we can certainly schedule in like conference rooms and all that, but that gets very complicated because
Really?
well, just because sometimes you have to pay money or where the location is, or getting like you have to get early enough to schedule there. It gets
Oh.
right? Like you can't do it just on the cuff of the moment. Like no one can just schedule a conference.
No, I mean like how about libraries?
Well, yeah, it's the same thing. You have to schedule in advance and have that be the right place and make sure. So as long as you schedule in advance and make it the right place and get it all organized, like it works quite well to do a library conference rooms. Also, you can have issues with how many people can show up and RSVPing, getting, whereas if you're outdoors, you don't really have that problem as much. Anyways, we can work that out for the in-person meetings, but I think the key here is that the in-person meetings are not an event, that it's a network, and that ideally we just get as many people as possible to just go outside and set up their camera and just invite people to come to their own their own local community.
I have a quick blurb to share about network events like the one we're trying to do. I attend a Buddhist temple in San Jose, and they have an incredible broadcasting system.
Ooh,
So
wow.
they have like maybe 5 temples that they broadcast to. There's like one in LA, San Francisco, San Jose, Korea. I forget where else exactly, but everyone can see the monk that is giving it's called a dharma, basically a lecture or open talk. Actually, he has an open talk, so he will like talk, and then people will ask questions. And they have mics, and they have a sophisticated video system where they have cameras that can even zoom in on people who are talking. I highly doubt that they would be interested in holding these type of things because it's a Buddhist temple. But the system that they use is sophisticated. That would be we would love to model off of like just the fact that they're able to have such communication. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love the model. I think what we want is we want to have kind of like a levels and scales. Like for example, you have like the minimal to participate might just be like an iPhone, right? Or a phone, a smartphone, right? So a smartphone. But then when you get something a little more set up, you need to have a mic, You need to have a screen. You need to have a
I just purchased a Amazon quote unquote karaoke machine, and it was $30. It's basically like a nicely sized amp. It's not a large amp basically, but it's like a nicely sized speaker with Bluetooth mics, and it comes with 2 mics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but one of the things that we definitely want to do is we want to stay under the threshold for a licensed event, right? So once you get too big and you have too much physical stuff, you are no longer, you usually have to get permission to do the event in the public space. Whereas if you just come with just like, one of those speaker things, and you're just like hanging out, it can be a lot. We want to be under the threshold of the legal limit for what requires licensing, and approval.
So then we'll have to define that, right? Like what is the threshold then?
Well, you should be able to have a amplification. Typically, it's to be light enough that you can carry it like a backpack, right? So as long as it's light enough to carry up a backpack, it should be fine. A screen gets a little bit big, right? So a screen, you'd want a small screen, right? So it's just like how does this we want to just think about that, and then eventually we might even be able to get licensed events. But either way, we could have multiple different types of levels happening simultaneously depending on each location's civic engagement, right? You have a lot of people involved, and our goal is this is going to be very, very neutral, and ideally, eventually you would have government sign on, right? We're not trying to do anything particularly radical here. Like that's what's so silly about it, is that doing normal civic engagement is radical, right? That's what's so
it's terrorism.
Yeah, exactly. So but overall, as far as normal civic engagement goes, we're not trying to do anything fancy here. All right.
I mean, you think the Bluetooth mics and the small speakers like fancy?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely, that's just totally just perfectly normal. I'm just saying, we're not trying to do a mass, just like people getting upset. We're not trying to rile people up or do anything. We're just trying to have open discussion. Yeah, it's very calm, collected, chill.
Yeah, I'm thinking like at most 10 people, maybe 15 people tops.
Well, we want to break up into smaller groups. That's like one of our values, is that we want to try to have lots of people involved. But if 100 people show up, we should break up into 5 to 10 groups, right? So you have smaller groups of interactions so that people are able to communicate.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's definitely down the line, and we would have to scale people, manpower for sure.
Yeah. Coolio. So anyways, the key thing is the goal here. So the goals are this idea of decentralized decision making, overturning the big beautiful bill, having this non-party based civic engagement in society. So if we can think of other goals that we could make it clear, this would be, we could think about maybe we should just add the demands. We have the demands that Z did, right? The demands that Z did. I think people love demands, right?
I thought you made a grievances list.
Oh yeah, even better. It's even better than demand. It's grievances. Grievances. I think what's so great about grievances, especially for the Power Coalition, is that it's a legal foundation, right? Because grievances, you have a legal right to bring these grievances to the government, and so you're protected. Whereas demands, you have no legal right to demand anything, right? You can demand whatever you want, but no one has to do anything about it, right? Whereas we have grievances, they're neutral grievances, and they can actually be brought up in a court of law. So I like the idea of the grievances and sticking with that for the Power Coalition, because the Power Coalition is very more neutral,
Yeah.
So I think we should definitely work with these grievances and have that as a foundational process. So basically, let's get to activate a grievance model, and then make sure that we are basically getting agreement on some sort of grievances by a certain date. Like let's say like 6 months, right? So that would be May. You know?
Yes.
By May. So, and that could also be part of our declaration on January 3rd. The declaration would be for hearing the grievances of the people, right? That we want the people's grievances to be heard. That they're adding up. Cool. So I think this is a pretty good thing. It gets us 6 months down the road. It's not perfect. It's not like big scale, but you know, maybe the couple years down the road we overturn the big beautiful bill and all the other stuff. But for now, I think we have a pretty good initial framework.
I think it's a great start. Now that we have timelines in place, I think it will create a lot more excitement.
Yeah. For sure. It's super key to have the timeline. So if we think about what needs to get done just in the next week, we have our identity, we have the roadmap. We need to just organize the roadmap, you know, and draft it, and then we need to start drafting the declaration, and then we need to finish the declaration by week 2. This is the last week of 2025, so finish declaration. So hopefully we have it drafted, and then we can edit it and finish it by the end of 2025 so that we can then sign it and declare it at the beginning of January.
January.
Yeah. And then from there, we would just start building the grievance model and hearing and prioritizing grievances and getting them updated into a formal model, like a formal document. And then it's just about building power around the grievances, right? The grievances are our declaration. Well, we have the declaration, but then the grievances are the, what's the right word? It's like the backing, right? The value of the declaration is the grievances. So the declaration is like, this is what we believe in. We need the people to be heard. We have grievances. And then we attach the grievances list to that. And then it's about just building momentum around the grievances. And as the grievances continue to get prioritized and get clear, people will join through their setness of the
I think people have been echoing grievances for a while on social media now. But, you know, in terms of the thing call, yeah, they will be talking about grievances and whatnot. But I think the main magic here is, right, is the nonpartisan participation. And if we can even attract a group of people who are usually polarizing to see each other's grievances being reflected in each other. And then
I want to map the grievances by ideology and party and worldview and culture, all that stuff. I want this to be a scientific process, right? Where like you have all the grievances. Let's say we have 50 grievances or more, but then we look at each grievance in relationship to the stakeholders, right? Who are these grievances coming from, and what grievances have the most unified relationship between all stakeholders, right? Between all ideologies, all parties, all worldviews, all cultures, because that is where the linchpin is. Because if you can find that grievance through a scientific process, that is the one where you can build the most power.
We're definitely diving into content here.
Yes.
That we'll be preparing.
But there's one thing that we need in the timeline, which is that once we have these grievances and we have clarity on what the priority grievances are, and we know why the grievances are important, they need to go somewhere and there needs to be a target. So where do the grievances go? What levels does the grievances go? One possibility is that we build on the decentralized, movement organizing, and that we do the full integrated levels process from local to global, basically. which I can explain to you. But basically, the idea is you bring the grievances to anyone and everyone who's willing to listen, right? At every level of government, right? So instead of saying, oh, the grievances go to Trump, well, who cares about Trump? We want to get rid of Trump. Let's bring the grievances to the people we want to empower and bring it to everybody and see who's willing to support the grievances. Bring the grievances to everyone, see who is willing to support, and then we want to make a list of who is running for Congress in this is going to be November 2026, and we want to support a list of candidates who support our grievances, candidates who support the people's grievances, and we'll elect. The goal is to elect a Congress that does what we want.
The website, this pertains to the website for sure. The data, centralized data of this will be useful in empowering for sure.
What's the centralized data?
The grievances and
Yes.
the demographics.
Yes. Oh, the demographics is so good. This will be so useful. I think that we might have a website. We might have a separate grievances platform that might be separate from our coalition, right? Because anyone could use them. But the overall goal here is that we need a deadline, a timeline, and the deadline and the timeline is mid-year for the grievances, and then from the mid-year to the November election is getting every level of government to sign on to them, especially Congress, right? So basically, from May to November, our goal is getting government officials, especially candidates running for Congress, right, to sign on.
What's the process with senators?
Well, yeah, senators as well. We should definitely add senators. Add senators as well, right? So we want to make sure that we are actively engaging with and prioritizing our government elected officials to basically we're evaluating them,
Yes.
and basically certifying and or what do you call it when you're certified green? It's I don't know. Basically, we're doing a certification or a badge of who the different elected. It doesn't matter what party they are. It doesn't matter, what their ideology is, what their religion is. We don't care. All we care is, do they support, for example, civic engagement on topic-based issues, right? Or whatever the grievance is that we all support, right?
So I love the turn which our meeting has taken, because I am a firm believer in making news, or not news, just information regarding the civic process easier for the average citizen to digest, because I have not found anything that supports that. You have to really dig, and you can even find a lot of stuff.
It's
you really
all partisan. Everything's partisan.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm so happy that we've gone to this place.
Yeah, so in the end, if you think about what we are doing, our primary product is neutral, empowering information for the people, right? That's what we're trying to produce. So basically, in essence, we're a media. This would be a project, is creating a media branch, which is basically just presenting this information in a neutral, empowering way to the people.
And once we get this down pat, we can definitely translate this, and other people in other countries can follow the model. That would be amazing.
I mean, for me, everything that we're doing is multi-country, multi-language from the beginning. Everything is just set up to be multi-cultural, multi-language initially. And so they don't have to wait for us. They can just do it themselves, and we can learn from them. If they do it and they do it well, we can start studying them, and then we can learn how to do it better ourselves,
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So everyone can learn from each other. Cool. Anyways, I think we're good on this topic. We have like 2 minutes left on this topic, so I think we're good, and I think we have a pretty good plan. So some of the next steps. Let's go into some next steps. Some of the next steps here. I would say let's just do a wrap up, because we got to wrap up and kind of check out, right? We're getting ready to wrap up.
I agree. Yeah.
So we have scheduling and we have next steps. So next steps are one. We need to. We could do identity. I think we could do identity asynchronously if we all just kind of input some ideas into that, right? Plus, a lot of what we talked about today could lead to the identity as well. We could just throw it into the system and it'll just pull out whatever it needs to. So then from here,
That'd be awesome.
we need to.
Don't you say identity? Identity based on what?
So our the identity of an organization or a group is the vision, the mission, the purpose, the values, and the principles, right? Our identity. Yeah. Our name, right? Our identity, it's the name, the vision, the mission, the purpose, the values. All right, so we need to write up, we need to have, scheduling goes, the work session goes into scheduling. So we need work sessions. We need to write up a roadmap. So we need a professional looking roadmap. That will eventually go onto a website as well, but we need it written out, going over the timeline, going over the goals, all that. So that needs to be written up. We also need to do an identity document, or is it going to be a document?
I would like to start doing buddy sessions with you to work on these items. I'm not a great writer. Like, I can write, but I'm not like a great writer. But I would love to, participate and work with you and start doing, like what you mentioned, buddy sessions.
Yeah, buddy team sessions. So we do buddy team sessions every day. Like, me and Lucy are pretty much the ones doing work every day. So, but what I was thinking in terms of the scheduling is, I personally feel that we should not get rid of the strike coalition call on Tuesdays at 3, but that we should do 2 things. One, we should turn that into a buddy team session, first of all.
Okay.
So that we have, but that midweek we check in, do a buddy team, maximum 3 people, which includes UI agents. So if we have Flo, we have Arana, that's 3 people. So if you go into 4 people, you're breaking policy, or 5 people, or whatever, that's considered a double team, right?
Yeah.
So a double team goes up to 6 people. So once you have more than 6 people, you become a main session, right? So basically, if you go beyond 6 people in a double team, you're just like really bad policy breaking. Like, it's just like it's just a main session, right? So if you're breaking policy, you go over 3. So 4, 5, 6, you can add up to 3 people. But then beyond that, you're basically doing a main session to the point where it would be considered usurping power structures, because if you're not notifying people of a bigger meeting, then you can have, it's basically like a secret meeting, right? So you want to make sure everyone's notified that the main session is happening, and then main sessions are basically open to anybody, right?
I understand. Okay.
So anyway, so that's my first proposal. The proposal is that we change the strike coalition meeting, this is Tuesdays at 3 p.m., into a buddy team work session for Cobalt, right? To do just Coalition Hub work session, right? And then we can also add other days as well, but we could start with just Tuesdays. And then I would like us to move the strike coalition session to 6 p.m. or even as late as 9 p.m. or earlier. We could also do it earlier, like in the morning.
Early would be better for me. 9 p.m. I'm already beat.
Yeah, so early would be practically like, they were talking 9 a.m., right? Because it's like, so just think, the goal is to have a main session at each octant. So where there's 8, eventually we'll have 8 main sessions a week. So 12 noon on Thursdays. 12 noon on Thursdays is Andromeda Hour 1, right? So Thursday, Friday is Andromeda Hour 1, which is the co-op main session. Then you have 3 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, and this is Cobalt Hour 1 is for the Coalition Hub, right? And then we want to do the 6 p.m. 6 p.m. we currently have nothing, right? There's nothing scheduled for 6 p.m. So 3 hours before 12, 12, 11, 10, 9 a.m., right? 9 a.m. there's currently nothing, right? So does that sort of make sense at all or not? So this would be 9 p.m. Is this no, this is 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Okay. Does it sort of make sense what I'm talking about with the scheduling, or does it not make sense?
I will admit I'm a little lost looking at the.
So my goal is to only have.
Spreadsheet.
So we have 9 a.m., 12 noon, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., and then there's going to be 9 p.m. Right? And my goal is that every single week, that there's no more than one main session per time period, because it's just too much. I can't personally handle it. It's just too much.
Yeah, no, that's it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So and nobody should be able to handle it. I mean, one main session per week is enough, and then buddy teams we need to get work done, right? We have work to do.
Yes.
We're going to change the world. It's going to be through working, not through talking all the time, right?
Yes.
So this would be as much as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main sessions per week during awake hours in the Americas. But then we'll have 3 additional sessions during the night. Eventually, those will get set up. So if you don't want to do 9 a.m. or 6 p.m. or 9 p.m., then for me, we should just invite everybody in the Strike Coalition to the Fridays at 3 p.m. session, and just invite the Strike Coalition to the Coalition Hub, and just make that our main meeting for now. And if people don't want to show up, it's fine, but that they would be invited. We can talk about the Strike Coalition, because if we don't have another time for that, then I would just want to.
What happened to the? They have their own at 8 p.m. on Tuesdays, right?
It's Wednesdays. It's 8 p.m. Wednesdays. Yeah, but that's the general.
That.
I know. I've been forgetting it too. So I definitely want to try to go to that. But again, that's not the Strike Coalition. So if we don't want to do 6 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 9 a.m., I would prefer that the schedule is that the Coalition Hub meeting would be the primary place where we discuss Power Coalition and Strike Coalition, Science Coalition, etc., etc. Basically, it's an open space for people to discuss whatever the group wants to discuss. You know?
Okay.
And then eventually we might be able to spin things off, but it's just like, I mean, we should not be doing multiple main sessions at the same time every day, because we need to have some days where we can do buddy team sessions and do work. So we would save the 3 p.m. Tuesdays for buddy team work sessions as a kind of the midweek check-in. You know?
Yes, I agree with that.
Because we don't need to do another strike call. And if other people want to do the strike call, we can schedule with them during 6 p.m. or 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. or even other times whenever they want to. But overall, there's only, like for the entire coalition, there's only 8 main sessions per week that are like the primary. And then from there, we can add secondary ones. But overall, they're all basically the coalition, right? Cool. All right, so I think we're on the same page on the scheduling, because we need to downsize a little bit. Super important, coalition. All right. So next steps, the communications is going to be important. We need to make sure our communications are functional. We need to have email group. We need to have the text. We need to have the PEP, etc., etc. You know, so we have clear communications going on. So let's make sure that gets set up well for the Power Coalition. Okay, cool. I think this is good. So the identity doc and the roadmap are the 2 main things. And then from there, we know we need to do the declaration. We need to draft the declaration. And then we need to start on the grievances and maybe work with Z on that, right? Z can help out with the grievances, right? So who wants to work on what? I want to work on the communications model. We already did the scheduling.
Okay. Let's see.
Roadmap, draft declaration, grievances, identity document. And we could also just work on all this
I
together on Tuesday at 3. Also, I think that I want to build for the communications. I want to build a size hub, and I want to put all of this onto size because size is going to help us a lot in getting organized.
as far as the roadmap goes, like we need to. I guess we have to decide exactly what we want on the roadmap. I guess I could try to make. I've never made like a official formal roadmap. As far as the declaration draft, I'm not sure what goes into that.
Cool.
I mean, I'm willing to try any of these items.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, just pick one, and then I'll help you out with it, and then it's just like from there we can just have something ready for Tuesday, right? So basically between now and Tuesday, where our buddy session is gonna happen, we can just you know, do our best to kind of pull things together. You know?
I'll try to handle the roadmap first, but we haven't even like really decided. We need to get to the next meeting to like solidify roadmap items, right?
Yeah, well, if I was doing the roadmap, this is what I would do. I would take our notes from the roadmap topic, which is like the goals / roadmap, right? So / roadmap. And we have all the dates set out and everything, right? So then I would just copy and paste this all into a, into a ChatGPT or whatever. AI, and then ask it to build a roadmap and to make it look nice as a document, and then that's a good functional draft to get started.
I will try to do that, but we still need to talk about it more before we do that, though.
Okay, well, is there anything you want to go over real quick right now, or you think? Because I think it looks it's a good start. I mean,
okay, if
I can give you the simple summary overview of the roadmap for what I'm saying. Do you want to hear it real quick?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so for me, what I would summarize this is basically we do the initial setup of the Power Coalition. And this would be like December, January. We'll just say December. Then we have our first public meeting, public meeting, right? Because I mean, we're still public, but we have our let's say our double public meeting. We have our first public meeting, right? It's like a double public meeting, right? Where we do a little outreach where we're going to sign the declaration. So we set everything up in December. We sign the declaration for the people's grievances in the beginning of January. Then by March, we're going to start, our network of connections, right? We're trying to connect and network people all over, right? And then by May, we're going to have the finalized version of the grievances to bring. So basically our network is basically, finalizing grievances, right? And then by November, we have a fully, I guess I would even say before November, it needs to be October, right? Even before October, we're talking September, October, we have a fully functional website in all languages that lists the candidates running for Senate and Congress that have signed on to our grievances for the people. Right?
Oh, I forgot another item we need to add.
So that's for me, that's basically what I'm seeing for the summary. As far
we
as
need to add branding for the campaign too.
Which campaign? The grievances campaign?
Yeah.
Yeah, so grievances campaign setup is basically happening in March, right? The whole grievances foundation.
Outreach.
So
okay.
Set up marketing campaign for grievances, right? For grievances, right? So right now we're setting up the Power Coalition itself, and then the grievances is the project, right? So the grievances is our primary project for 2026, where our goal is to affect the election of Congress based on these grievances that we're going to have the peoples and the candidates sign on to. And the hope is that we have a candidate who signs on to our grievances in every single congressional race, and there is like 600 of them.
Yeah, I would love to have like a whole like table of Congress people and a whole table of Senate people, and like you said, use the badges and whatever, and like it visualize though. So this is like super digestible to see
Yes.
who's on board and who's not.
I think there's going to be two levels. There's going to be we can have more than one candidate sign on to our grievances. I think it's really important because the whole idea that you only support one candidate is one of our problems, right? And then
Right.
also we need to evaluate candidates regardless if they sign on. So there should be a way to have like a percentage evaluation for how closely, based on their records, right? Based on records, they personify the grievances, right? For
I actually, before we close up shop, I wanted to ask you, as far as your connections with the discussions in GS, US, NorCal,
Yeah.
have you made any good connections with people who might want to participate in our
Well, I think
coalition?
Z is just 100% on board already. Everybody, like, so many people have been interested in the idea of the strike coalition, but the way that General Strike is set up is that everything goes basically through a centralized top-down structure where um, Bubbles is the quote official facilitator who has been anointed by whoever does the
No, I mean like other participants who
Yes,
like
the
who
answer
are
is
also
yes.
interested.
Yes, there's a lot of interest, absolutely, right? But
So
the thing is that I don't get any traction
mhm.
because basically me and Bubbles butt heads. I don't know. Bubbles and me don't seem to get along much, and we.
No, I mean
does his own
have
thing.
you gained interest of them joining our coalition?
I mean, I just don't really pressure people to put them on the spot. Like, you have to join our coalition or whatever. It's like, for me, it's just parallel. We're all working together, right? So we should just all be collaborating and working together. I don't even understand the idea that they're separate. For me, that's not how my brain works. For me, it's just like a movement, and we're all trying to make progress and work together. And people can put these artificial things of like, oh, they're separate from us. That I don't even play those games. I don't even know what that means. For me, it's just like, let's just all work together and make solutions and
I mean
solve this.
separate in the sense that they're organizations or groups that are working
No.
separate. Yeah, we are
It's
working for
just
the
all
same cause.
individuals. Yeah, it's just all
That's
individuals.
correct.
Yeah.
That's
I meant-
correct. That we're all working towards similar causes, but
Yeah.
we are working here with this project, and it would be nice to have more people involved here as well. Like if they have time and energy to contribute to this project for the same cause, that would be nice.
Yes, but our current goal for outreach is March, right? So we should have our own outreach models and strategies set up by March, which means that we should have a flow, a funnel of people coming in by March where we're getting we should have, a few dozen people coming in every week from, they might not come to the meeting, but a few dozen people coming through our social media and through our communications funnels every week, and then a small percentage of them might actually show up to the meetings, right? And we can see
Right.
how many people are going to our website and all that kind of stuff through the back end data analysis. But I feel like the key thing here is that I have major issues with General Strike, and there's no way to address them, and it drives me insane that they just ignore everybody's problems, and they ignore dissent, and they ignore grievances, right? So
Oh, wow.
for me, it's just not a safe space. And when I bring it up, nobody wants to address it. And then either they pretend like it's not happening, or they just don't care, right? So either way, it's like, if I have a problem, it should be addressed, even if other people don't see the same problem. But they don't even do that either, right? So for me, it's very, very strange. But when we talk about organizations, the way that General Strike is set up is that you have a separate sub-coalition, quote, partnership system where you have to go through months and months of hoops. They'll never tell you no, because I tried to build a coalition with them and be a partner with them, and they never told me no, but they kept me jumping through hoops for literally a year, right?
Wow.
Without ever telling me no. And then I met at least multiple dozens of other organizations that were going through the same thing, right? And going to coalition meetings and meeting all these other people who were not just individuals, but actual representation of their companies and their organizations that wanted to partner and get involved. right?
Oh wow.
All of them have disappeared. I don't know a single person who's left. Only individuals are left in general strike, and none of the organizations are ever there. And only the ones that quote get verified and anointed as partners or whatever. And even them, you don't see them actually show up, right? So I just don't understand their model. Whereas our model, as a coalition, is that if we are an open coalition, which means that any organization across the world can come to our meetings and join as a member, and then they have membership rights to vote and be empowered, and they have responsibilities, and they must follow the rules or they will be expelled, right? So they're both empowered and they have to follow the rules. And if they don't follow the rules, then they lose their rights, right? So basically, there is no vetting and there is no short list of special partners. Everyone can join the coalition. It's an open coalition. If you want to join the coalition, bam, you're a member. Your organization is automatically a member of the coalition and can start voting and participating. We have no filter system. We're not going to tell people that, oh, your organization sucks and your organization is amazing because of my personal opinion, right? That is not what we're here to do, right? It doesn't make sense. Like any organization that's willing to put their money and their time and their energy towards our vision and our goals should be supported and helped as long as they follow the rules, period.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to close shop.
Yeah. So anyways, what we're trying to do is a little bit different. And I think we should go to the like all of the Discord servers for General Strike will have our Friday meeting on it. So next week, so we're going to cancel the one for the Strike Coalition will be canceled on Tuesday, and I'll put instead the Friday meeting on Wednesday. And actually, we might keep the Strike Coalition. I like to let's finalize the decision for the Strike Coalition on Tuesday at 3. So we might have one last Strike Coalition meeting if someone shows up, but then we replace it for the Friday meeting, and we'll move all of them on Tuesday to Friday. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, because I like to make sure that the meeting that you're scheduling is like one of our policies that you always change the schedule of the meeting at the meeting that you're changing the schedule for, because we're not that meeting yet. So we would be usurping that power. All right, so let's go into checkouts. I think we're ready to check out.
Yes.
Cool. All right, so I can start. I will give the session a 6.3. So we definitely didn't do too well on our breaks. Somehow we lost breaks. The rhythm wasn't really going very well. There was just we didn't have flow.
I didn't hear flow.
Yeah, well, we didn't have flow. We didn't get flow set up.
Oh.
So definitely we could have done a little better on the setup, but I didn't even know if the meeting was going to happen at the beginning, so I kind of turned everything off and I just didn't think it was going to happen. So that's cool. So anyways, I'm also very excited about the draft or the initial roadmap. I think that it's not only achievable, it's actionable, and I think there's a lot of people looking for something like this that actually can affect the election and can change the balance of power. Even if we're not successful, who cares? It's still at least giving us some engagement in the civic process. And it's not partisan, it's not controlled top-down by big money special interests. So I think that's a huge, huge benefit for the public, and I'm excited about it. I'm going to be working on the identity and for the Tuesday session, and I also want to work on the communications groups for Power Coalition, and including size. So I want to get a lot of this into size, and I would love you to sign up for size. So I'll send you the link. Once I get it all set up, I'll send you the link to size for the Power Coalition. And I also, and just so you understand, size is where you prioritize everything. So size is our prioritization platform, okay? From there, I want to work on, let me look at the wrap up again. I want to work on the declaration. Yes, I absolutely am willing to work on the declaration. Cool. Check. Who wants to check out next?
I can check out. Yeah, I thought the meeting was a 7.5 just because I haven't been in a meeting in a while. I'm excited about working on this roadmap and moving our vision forward. And if you need help on the declaration, I'd be happy to help in however way or capacity I can.
Well, I'll just shoot you over I'll draft it and I'll shoot you over the draft. And the same with you. You draft the roadmap and then shoot it over to me and we'll keep working on it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Lucy.
Yes, I'm giving a session 6. I'm really learning. That's why I'm so silent. I'm following everything, trying to digest. And I see it's a very big project and good that I might get involved at some point.
Cool. Awesome. And just so, Lucy, we could take a half-hour break and then meet up again at the top of the hour if you're interested.
Yes, top of that is fine.
Okay, yeah, we'll keep going top of the hour. We can do some payroll. All right, awesome. I think that's it. I think we're done.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm also going to be doing the transcript and the summary of the session, and I'll send that out on PEP and link PEP for all of that with the coalition. Okay.
Do you also track hours on Rubber?
Oh, no, we forgot to track our hours. It's super important. So we have Lucy, J, and Puke Master. All right. So we did 2.5 hours, right? So Puke Master 2.5, J 2.5. Lucy, you did 1 hour or 1.5 hours? You did 1.5 hours? 1.75? I don't know. Can't remember. 1.75?
4.75, yes.
Cool. All right.
Just like 2 hours.
Great. We got our time on there. And just so you know, that just turns into the tokens eventually. That'll go into our token system. All the value and the time input. All right. I think we are done. I'll talk to you all later. I'll do the summary as well to make sure that we have our nice summary of the session.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you so much. Let's meet at the top of the hour, G.
Yeah, top of the hour. I'll check in on PEP. All right. Ciao.
All right. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.